Good evening. As today is Sunday, I decided to cover a topic that would involve one of my favorite Sunday pastimes, which is football, um, and uh, one that correlated with our class's topics of trademark and registration. I chose a podcast for this assignment from Gordon Firemark, Entertainment Law Update. Um, that regards trademarks. Um, there's been a lot of news going on lately. For quite a while, there's been news about our Washington Redskins and their trademark. Um, for quite some time, there has been a case going on in regards to the trademark of the Washington Redskins, of their logo and name itself of Redskins being derogatory, and a case was filed against their trademark by a group of Native Americans. And since that case has been decided upon, and some key things that were pointed out in the podcast that I was unaware of. A lot of things about trademark is new to me. I'm learning from this class a great deal of good information, but a few things, points that were made on this particular topic that I was not aware of was the fact that trademarks can be disputed by any entity, persons, groups, um, besides the owner of the trademark. So that's something that I wasn't aware of. And I wasn't aware that the case had been determined. The Trademark Trial and Appeal Board on the 18th of June of this year determined that the uh, trademark, the mark, the logo, um, is considered to be disparaging to Native Americans. So that was decided. And again, because of the group of Native Americans who disputed the trademark. And also, I did not know that a trademark could be canceled on those grounds if it is disputed by a group or individuals and determined for whatever reasons to no longer be eligible, um, be um, able to be used, that it can be canceled. A few other things that I had to do some research in order to find out, and which, of course, I will provide the references for this information, but there is an appeals process, and the Washington Redskins can appeal the cancellation of their trademark. They can appeal that decision, in which they have 6 months to do so. Um, Now, I was looking for, what I was trying to find was information in regards to how long they have to change, before they have to change the canceled trademark, if they have to, or if they're penalized. And the information that I was able to find from the Trademark Act is that they have 6 months to appeal the decision. So far they had not changed the mark or the trademark, and there's been a lot of controversy in the news in regards to that, to the Redskins and their like, I'm not even sure whether I should still consider them, or call them Redskins, but as of this point, they haven't changed their name yet. But um, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this, whether they should, whether they shouldn't, and a lot of people having different opinions in regards to that. Some saying that if they've had the trademark for this long, then why change it now? And a lot saying that, it's a derogatory term, Redskins is, that if it's offensive and it's derogatory, and over time it has become derogatory, we have become more sensitive to being politically correct in our terms, especially in regards to and referring to another group of people. So over time, it's been determined that that the time that has passed, we've come to a point in time, day and age, where that term is derogatory, can be considered derogatory by many, and some of the opinions, which the opinions at this point don't really matter because its decision has been made, but some of the opinions, even some of the broadcasters for the NFL, are only going to refer to the Washington Redskins now as just Washington until they've made the decision or final decisions on changing their trademark. But some say that it's a, in some's opinion, it would be a good idea for the Redskins to change the logo or trade that changed the trademark because of it now being associated and people now thinking of it and seeing it as being politically incorrect, that it would be a good idea for branding purposes to go ahead and change the trademark, because you don't really want to be associated with something that's derogatory. You don't want your brand to be associated with something derogatory. So that was a solid case or solid argument, I thought, in my opinion. That was a solid argument for changing the logo on top of, the decision being made by the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board that it's a derogatory mark. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very interested to see what happens with that. There are some who believe that they shouldn't change the trademark because it's been a pinnacle for them for so long, and that it could have effects as far as morality for the team and backing and fans, and so they could change their status, to say, as far as their ranking and how they play. It could have an effect on the team as a whole overall and where they stand. Where as a Dallas Cowboy fan myself, that would not bother me in the least bit. So if they change their trademark and it appears as though by doing so it has an effect on their game, then that's all the more, I'm sure that's all the more reason for them to change it for us Dallas Cowboy fans. But that's neither here nor there. But it's interesting, and I'm very interested to see what they do and what standpoint they take, because again, this is the only team that can claim our capital, our nation's capital. This is Washington D.C. So it's a major. I can understand how it's a major decision for them. But I also do see the standpoint of the Native Americans, that's a derogatory term that came from events that occurred that we all know the story behind. So it's very interesting and very controversial topic, and I was glad that this was one that George Firemark covered and was able to get some information as far as what the decision it came down was. And they do have on the website for the U.S. Patent and Trademark organization. They do have the act, basically the rules and regulations for trademark available on their site to view. It's a lot of information, a lot of rules and regulations, but the information is there listed, all the rules and regulations, and which is where I got some of the information, like the 6 months that the Washington D.C. has to appeal the decision. So at this point, since the decision was made back in June, we're getting really close to, I'm interested to see if they file the appeal, because we're getting really close to that 6 months mark. So I'm really interested to see what happens, and this is something I'll probably follow along with as the days and weeks go by. to see how all of this pans out, and exactly how a trademark case, how a trademark case goes. This is really like history in the making going on as far as trademarks go. So definitely an interesting case to follow, and I'll be keeping up with. And I hope it gave you some enlightenment, anyone who views this, and some new information.